Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with another Pewter Pulse. The Bucs have made the playoffs for 5 straight years now, including 4 NFC South division championships and a Super Bowl victory back in 2020 to kick things off. With that high level of postseason success, is this the year that other NFL teams finally wake up, take a look at what's happening in Tampa Bay, and poach some of the Bucs front office members? And is Liam Coen going to surface as a head coaching candidate elsewhere besides Jacksonville? I'll get into the latest news in just a moment, but first, your reminder, hit the thumbs up button, give us a like, and also leave a comment. Love reading the comments. And when you do those two things, it helps us with the YouTube algorithm and gets us in front of more awesome Bucs fans like you. So thank you. Okay. Will the Bucs wind up retaining assistant general managers Mike Greenberg and John Spytek? And will they hang on to offensive coordinator Liam Coen? Or will there be a Pewter Purge in the 2025 offseason? Let's kick things off by talking about team capologist Mike Greenberg, the gentleman in the middle with the Super Bowl trophy, flanked by Jason Light and John Spytek. Greenberg's been with the team for 15 seasons, even before Jason Light took over as general manager in 2014. Now, he just interviewed with the Jets in New York on Friday for their GM position. But first, here's some background on Tampa Bay's front office ace, who has served as Light's right-hand man with his innovative ways of manipulating the salary cap. But Greenberg is more than just a cap wizard. He's the Bucs' lead contract negotiator and team strategist in the front office, and has been a very important part of the Bucs' team building and roster construction. And years ago, Greenberg also brought on Jackie Davidson to help in those areas. She's been promoted to the role of vice president of football research. And like Greenberg, she's super smart and will be a future GM one day. The two met while with the Jets organization prior to their respective moves to Tampa Bay. You see, Greenberg interned with the Jets under Mike Tannenbaum, who was the GM at the time. That's important because Tannenbaum, who runs the football media website, The 33rd Team, well, he's heading up the search for the Jets' next head coach and general manager due to his relationship with owner Woody Johnson. Greenberg grew up in Long Island, New York, as a Jets fan. And if he was ever going to leave Tampa Bay, going home to rebuild the Jets would be the likely destination. Greenberg is believed to be one of the favorites that Tannenbaum would endorse. But the Jets had a cap guy as general manager in the past in John Idzik, who was also a former Bucs capologist and assistant GM during the Rich McKay years. And it didn't really work out with the Jets. Idzik made a lot of personnel blunders, including trading Pro Bowl cornerback Darrelle Revis to Tampa Bay. So that might work against Greenberg, who's not a personnel guy. The competition for the Jets job is also pretty intense. In addition to Greenberg, Woody Johnson has already interviewed Chiefs assistant GM Mike Borgonzi, former Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff, ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick, former Titans GM John Robinson, Rams senior personnel executive Ray Farmer, Eagles assistant GM Alec Halaby, and Super Bowl executive Jim Nagy. The Jets have also requested to interview Packers vice president of personnel John Eric Sullivan and Bengals senior personnel executive Trey Brown. Every one of those candidates is a personnel guy, with the exception of Halaby, who is an analytics guy. Woody Johnson is a wild card owner, so who knows what direction he'll go in for the next GM. Now let's talk about fellow assistant Bucs GM John Spytek. On Friday, Spytek interviewed for the Titans GM position that's vacant due to the recent firing of Rand Carthon. But Tennessee is not a very attractive spot because owner Amy Adams Strunk has made it clear the Titans president of football operations, Chad Brinker, will be the primary decision maker when it comes to the roster. The Titans are said to be looking strictly for a personnel guy, and that is Spytek's forte. He's a tape grinder, but he's already the assistant GM in Tampa Bay doing just that. Without any power over the roster in Tennessee, he would be a GM in name only with the Titans, although he probably would get a pay raise. This interview was Spytek's fifth over the years. In 2022, he also interviewed for the GM jobs with the Vikings, Raiders, and Steelers, even making it to the second round in Pittsburgh. Spytek is more than ready and capable of leading his own team and should be a full-fledged GM. Speaking of the Raiders, look for them to have some interest in Spytek as their search to replace Tom Telesco heats up. Tom Brady is now minority owner and will take a larger role in finding the next head coach and GM in Las Vegas. As Pewter Report's already reported, Spytek was college teammates with Brady at Michigan. And of course, the 2 won Super Bowl 55 here together in Tampa Bay. It's part of the team's 3-year playoff run under Brady from 2020 to 2022. Tom Brady has also called 3 Bucs games for Fox this year and has made a point to talk to Spytek before kickoff each time. And while we're on the subject of Tom Brady, he's become a big fan of Bucs offensive coordinator Liam Coen during those 3 games he called in Tampa. Most recently, the 27-19 win over New Orleans last week. If Brady were to interview and hire Spytek, that might only increase the chances that Cohen could be sought after by Las Vegas for the head coaching job. To date, the Jaguars are the only one to put a request in to interview Cohen, as they need a replacement for Doug Peterson. Jacksonville wants an offensive-minded coach to continue to develop franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence, but that could change come Sunday night, especially if Cohen's offense lights up the Commanders' defense again. Tampa Bay scored 37 points against Washington in the season opener, with Baker Mayfield throwing 4 TDs in that game. With the game on Sunday Night Football, it's safe to say that the NFL world will be watching, and Cohen could have a few new fans around the league if his offense continues to average 30 points per game in a Bucs playoff win. Dave Canales gets some credit for resuscitating Baker Mayfield's career in Tampa Bay last year, but with a career-high 70% completion percentage, 4,500 yards passing, and 41 passing TDs, Cohen has taken Tampa Bay's game to a whole new level. It'll be fascinating to see what happens with Greenberg and Spytek and Cohen over the next few weeks. The NFL has slept on Tampa Bay for years now, outside of Carolina hiring Dave Canales last year to be the head coach. Greenberg actually interviewed for the Panthers GM job too last January, but Carolina opted to promote Dan Morgan instead. But the longer Jason Light's front office has remained intact, the stronger the Bucs roster has become and the better the drafts have been over the years. As I've said before, Spytek is ready to run his own team. He's got great charisma, the leadership ability. He's super smart when it comes to personnel decisions. Jason Light has taught him well, and I think that the Bucs could afford to lose him out of the 3 that I discussed in this Pewter Pulse episode. Light would really miss Mike Greenberg, I think, when it comes to the salary cap strategy and management aspect of it. Yet the real danger in losing someone like Spytek or Greenberg is the threat of them taking someone from the front office with them. Luckily, John Robinson didn't take anyone from Tampa Bay's front office when he left to become the Tennessee general manager back in 2016. But Greenberg would need someone to help him with personnel in New York if he got the Jets job. And Spytek would probably want to bring along a familiar face as well to lead up the scouting staff if he lands elsewhere. After all, Canales took offensive line coaches Joe Gilbert and Harold Goodwin with him to Carolina, as well as receivers coach Brad Idzik, who is the Panthers offensive coordinator by title. NFL rules are a bit different when it comes to front office members who are under contract. And contracts for scouts and personnel members typically run through May until the NFL draft is over. Jason Light and the Bucs could not only lose Spytek and or Greenberg, but also take a few hits in the front office as well if a couple of other people left to go with him. But those NFL rules state that only personnel people can be hired away for assistant general manager roles overseeing personnel. The good news is that for the Bucs is that Light has a deep and talented roster when it comes to the front office and the scouting department. If Spytek and or Greenberg leaves, Light could actually block the departure of guys like Mike Beal or Rob McCartney by promoting one or both of them from those director of player personnel roles that they have now to the role of assistant general manager to replace either Spytek or Greenberg or both. And Shane Scannell and Byron Kiefer are also up-and-coming stars in the Bucs scouting department too. So Light has a stable of talent, a deep depth chart in the front office that could help the team weather the storm of a couple of front office departures. But the real big blow might be losing Liam Coen, as Todd Bowles' job is now more secure with a third straight NFC South division title. Bucs passing game coordinator Josh Grizzard could be an in-house replacement if the team can't convince Cohen to stay on, even with the pay raise, and wait for Bowles to eventually retire. Seahawks passing game coordinator Jake Peetz, who was also from the Sean McVay tree out there in LA and interviewed to be Canales' replacement last year before Cohen was hired, is another option outside of Tampa Bay if Cohen can't be retained. I'm not trying to stand in the way of any of those guys' career ambitions, but if Spytek, Greenberg, and Cohen wind up staying in Tampa Bay this offseason as teams maybe go in different directions with their hires, well, the Bucs will only be better and more formidable because of it. This should be a very interesting offseason in Tampa Bay. Let's hope there's not a Pewter Purge, but stay tuned. You know that Pewter Report is the authority when it comes to the Bucs offseason for draft and free agency news, as well as coaching hires and GM hires and all that good stuff. But for more Pewter Pulse episodes and other great Bucs video content, make sure you visit and subscribe to Pewter Report TV. Make sure you follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And visit pewterreport.com often for breaking news, inside scoop, and all of the free agency and draft coverage and playoff coverage too. And I'll be back soon with the new Pewter Pulse.